Hey, welcome to the inaugural episode of ASAP Elite Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Penn, along with your boy Haas, and live from the streets, Slim Jim Bones. Today we bring to you all pro safety extraordinaire, Sammy Knight. Before we begin, allow us to introduce our Shoe with a Show segment presented to you by Nike, the Kyrie Sevens. Beautiful. Yes, sir. Just do it, baby. Without further ado, we bring to you Mr. Sammy Knight. Hey there, Sammy. Come on, man.
Great, man. Glad to be here. I'm glad I could come on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. We've been so eager to get you on the show, man, to, see your point of view so you can give us detail and insight inside of your career, man. So once again, like I say, it's such an honor for you to have agreed to come on the show, and share with us your experience.
Well, man, I'm excited. I can't wait to get into some ball with you guys.
Yeah, definitely, man, definitely. So first off, let's get into it. Super Bowl predictions.
You know what? I mean, that's a tough one. You put me on a tough spot. You know what I mean? I got to ride with the Chiefs since I played for them, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I must admit, man, it's going to be a tough win for him. You got the GOAT. Whenever you play against Tom Brady, he's got so much experience. But the one thing I'm riding on is the experience that the Chiefs defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo has against Tom Brady. He's played him a couple of times, come out on the other side successful, and they know him real well. They know Tom personally, and a lot of the things he likes to do on the field. And also, they had the honor of being able to play him when they went down there and beat him in Tampa Bay. So I think they'll have the advantage from that aspect. But never can underestimate Tom.
Yeah, definitely, man. I'm with you on that. I got to go with the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is just too, I don't know what to say, out of this world, should I say. With those weapons, Kelsey and the Cheetah, it's going to be hard to stop them guys. Following the blueprint that they had in, I think, week 7 or week 5 that they had when Tyreek was able to exploit that defense in the first half, 7 receptions for over 200 yards. That's something that's that will be there again. That's one thing about it. It's the same personnel. There will be adjustments by Todd Bowles, but I just don't see you corralling this unit, especially with that quarterback. Tom Brady, I usually go with him, and every time I don't go with him, I usually lose that bet, because he's a Michigan man and it's me going against the grain, so, but still, man, I still have to go with the Chiefs on this one. What do you think, Slim Jim Bones?
Well, I think this game's going to be dependent on if Tom Brady can hold on to the ball, because as you saw when he played against the Packers, those 3 picks, and the Packers only got 6 points off of it. But if you give 3 picks back to the Chiefs, they're gonna probably score on each one of those picks. So I'm going with the Chiefs on this one. It's just Kansas City Chiefs. Their offense is just so gelled and so consistent, and it took a couple years. Tyreek Hill had to learn how to be a wide receiver, how to control his speed, and he finally did. And he's top 5, top 10 wide receiver. Kelsey is just dominant, and Pat Mahomes is Pat Mahomes. He could throw from any angle. 20 yards. 80 yards down the field like it's nothing. So I'm gonna go with the Chiefs on this one.
Okay, got you. What about you, Haas? What you got?
And honestly, I'm gonna have to roll with the Chiefs. I mean, the thing is when you're talking about the ability to put up points, the way that they can put up points, right? No lead is safe. You have this amazing defense last year in the 49ers. And so
yes.
they got they got behind, but then they were able to put up points that unlike anybody else could have done. You can't get, I think it was 19-0 at one point. I mean, you can't get that far behind with a defense that's that amazing, and think you're going to come back. I was one of those people that counted them out last year, But the thing is that they've shown me that no lead is safe. And so when you got a team that Slim Jim, I think you said that they're very cohesive and
Mm-hmm.
consistent. That's championship ball right there. So I got to go with the Chiefs, man. Even though they got the goat on their side, I hate to say that he's the goat, but man, in all honesty, whether you
How
hate
do
him
you
or
hate
love
to
him, the
say you
dude
the
is the
GOAT?
goat.
How do you hate to
Well,
say you the
see,
GOAT? It ain't no goats
man,
coming out of
listen,
USC.
bro, let's
No,
not
Oh
talk
let's
man,
about
not
that.
come
go
on.
Yeah,
I'm
there.
not
yeah, we
saying,
can
Now,
I'm not
start
yeah,
saying.
that.
now if he was a
No,
USC,
we
if he
got
was a
plenty of goats
USC
coming
boy,
out of
SC
SC. I
boy,
mean,
now
Yeah,
I
hey,
ride with
yeah.
all SC boys. I
better.
don't care what team you
Yeah,
play
yeah, we
for.
can do this, Mr. Knight and
It's
Mr.
not even close. It's not close. Don't even. That's not even close. Not even
Right,
close.
right. Yeah, we
Oh,
don't. We're not gonna talk. We're not gonna compare Michigan Hall of Famers to SC Hall of Famers. So I'm just gonna stop it right there.
go blue. We got the greatest one. Y'all got the juice. Oh, and Sammy Knight. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, hey, Slim Jim Bones, thank you for being with us, man, for our words on the streets, for our predictions, man. We'll get with you next week. Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. Sammy Knight. Thanks
All
so much.
right, Slim Jim, be easy, baby.
All right.
Yes, sir. I will see you guys next week. Have a good night, guys.
Yes, sir. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. All right, here we go. Mr. Knight, like I say, this is a pleasure and an honor to be able to interview you and bring to you our viewers and listeners, like I said, your story, your experience. So let's get into it about how you were introduced to football.
Well, I was introduced to football from my older brothers. I have two older brothers, Ryan and Greg Knight. Both played football at high school, at Rubidoux High School, the high school I attended later on, and both went on to play football in college. Um, my brother Ryan initially was my oldest brother, was the USA Today National Player of the Year in 1983, number one football player in the nation,
Mm.
and ended up going to USC to play tailback. He was like California all-time leading rusher in uh, in California at high school. And my brother Greg was one of his offensive linemen, so he blocked for him as well. So he went to my brother Greg went to CU
Yeah,
in
Colorado.
yeah in
That's right.
Colorado. Yep. Yeah, so they were the two that initially got me started like wanting to play football, but my mom didn't let me play football till I was like 11 or 12.
Mm.
So I kind of started off playing baseball and basketball, but you know, always in my neighborhood, there was always games in the streets, whether it be in Casablanca or on the east side or in Riverside, back there over out in Rubidoux. We always just be playing, man, from light post to light post, and it'd be tackle.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes it'd be two-hand touch in the street. So when I did decide to play football, I wasn't just a fresh fish going out to play. When I was 12, I'd already played, from 5 years old growing up, tackle with older kids, two-hand touch with older kids. So I really knew the game. So, but it was my brothers that introduced me to the game.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome, man. Same way with me. I was introduced by the game. I had some very competitive cousins.
Mm.
Yeah, very competitive cousins who were blessed with uncanny athletic ability, and I had to keep up. Same thing. Only difference with us is we had to get out there in the snow, and play ball if we wanted to keep competing. So, with that being said, can you give us insight on your football career up to the draft, like high school through college?
You know what? Kind of like I said, I went to Rubidoux High School. It was high school in Riverside, California. Coming up, I went to high school from 1989 to 1993, and at that time, when I was going to Rubidoux, we played in the Citrus Belt League. So the Citrus Belt League consisted of like Fontana, Eisenhower, Sanji, Redlands, and San Gorgonio, and that was really it was considered the toughest conference in the nation at that time, because Fontana had won the national championship, the USA National Championship. I think they won it in '88. They placed second in '89, and Eisenhower won it in '90. I think it was '91, and placed second in '92.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, our conference was really good, and Redlands was in our conference as well, and they had the largest school in California. So it was to make a quick point. It was just a very competitive conference. So we played in a really tough league, played against some of the top players, played there. I was introduced. My first coach at high school was John Hill, who really instilled in me being physical and tough. So went to Rubidoux High School, went there for 3 years. Coach Harrison, my main coach, Wayne Cochran, they instilled in me, the determination, the discipline to be a great defender. So started there, went on to USC, where I was recruited by Dennis Thurman. Funny story about that was I was really going to go to Washington or Arizona State because they had Larry Smith, and then they hired John Robinson like 2 weeks before signing day. And I'll never forget, because every signing day comes up, I signed like 4 days after signing day because I was trying to make my decision whether or not I was going to go to Washington really or go to SC. And Washington had sold me on being a safety and pairing me up with another safety that was playing baseball at that time, who was a redshirt freshman that was going to play football the next year, and his name was Lawyer Malloy. So it was funny. Yeah, it was just funny because like that's what they wanted to pair me up with, and he was a great dude. And actually, who hosted me was Napoleon Kaufman on my recruiting trip there. So it was a real cool experience with UW. It almost happened, but I ended up making the right decision and going to SC.
Hey, that UW team was pretty strong. I want to say, I think there wasn't Newhousel, was it? Newhousel? That was before.
Newhouse? No. That was the old coach. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name right now. But the coach there at Washington for all those years, Don James. James.
Gotcha. And they had the big boy on the D line. I want to say East.
Yeah. But that was 91. So I came out in 93. That was like 2 years after they won the national championship. It was two years after they won the national championship, but they were loaded from that. I mean, they still had all the talent out there.
Okay. What were some players that you played with at USC?
At USC, I played with go down the line. I played with Rob Johnson, Willie McGinnis, Johnny Morton.
Wow.
Tony Boselli, Dalen McCutcheon, Brian Kelly, Rashard Cook. Keep naming them. I mean, there's so many players that play with Darrell Russell. I mean, there's a bunch of names that I could go through, continue to go through. But we had a lot of players that ended up going to the NFL from those years that I was there. A lot of players that you might not even know that weren't big names, but ended up playing in the league and playing for whether it be from 2 years on to like 7 years. So
got you.
There's a lot of players that came out of there.
Okay, go ahead, Haas.
No, I mean, one person near and dear to my heart that you played with, he was a freshman your senior year, is Chris Claiborne.
No doubt,
the Lucas Award winner. Actually, he's going to be a guest of ours in the future as well.
But Clay's going to kill me on that because he's going to hit me up because that's my dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like Clay is from the crib, so me and Clay, I've been knowing Clay since we played RJTFL football in youth football, and his brother Adrian was a beast. So I mean, what's funny about that is I was a senior and he was a freshman, so I always like mention the freshman later on. But no, Clay was so cold, man. He coming in as a freshman, like he came in like no other freshman probably in USC history. It was unbelievable for him to come in and just start right away, and not only start but really command the team the way he commanded the team. So I mean, that's one thing about Chris, man, is his leadership and his intelligence, man, and also his humbleness. He was humble as well. You know what I mean? So I mean, I love playing with Chris.
Hey, man, shout out to Chris also for just coming up on that Arizona State linebacker coach job. I just want to congratulate him for that. And he'll be on the show shortly.
Yeah,
no
absolutely,
doubt.
man. I will say that when I saw that, I was hoping that he actually would get on at SC because I feel weird cheering for anybody, especially in the Pac-10 outside of SC. So but man, it's gonna be a tough one when they play SC because I'm an SC boy at heart.
Hey man, Arizona State is 5 minutes away from me.
And they got AP there. My boy AP's there.
Yeah, Pierce, Antonio Pierce
there. And Herm, of course, and so I know that they got a great staff there, and they're a staff that I know is going to do the right thing for the players there, and they're gonna love having Chris there because Chris is so smart, man. He can relate to the players, but he's one of the smartest players I played with, along with Anthony. So when them two get together, man, I'm telling you, they're gonna cause trouble in the Pac-12 next year, man. They're gonna cause trouble in the Pac-12. So I think you'll really see a change in the teams next year, especially with AP really consistently taking over as D coordinator,
Yes, sir.
and also adding Chris to that staff where Chris was on the offensive side at SC and got a chance to get a layout of how the Pac-12 operates and has seen the inside workings of all the teams.
Mm-hmm.
And so I mean Arizona State's gonna be good, man. They're gonna be tough.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, man. I had the honor of, gaining friendships through my networking with a lot of those Arizona State guys. Juan Roque, a few
Mhm.
more guys. But all right, let's get into your draft experience. Can you shed light on that?
Well, my draft experience was null and void just because I didn't get drafted. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
so that definitely was a disheartening day. But like God always has a plan for all of us, and so it ended up working out. But man, I tell you what, man, I wasn't seeing it that day. That was one day, man, where I was really really disappointed. And the reason why is because I met with a bunch of teams, and teams were telling me, yeah, you're gonna go from the third round to the fifth. So I really didn't go into that day thinking there was any possible chance I wouldn't have been taken before the fifth round.
Mm.
I going into my senior year at USC. I've been preseason All-American as strong safety at the end of my junior year, and so at the end of my junior year, a lot of teams were running a little bit more of the spread offense, kind of three wide receiver offenses, and so that's where teams start transitioning from I formation to kind of going three wide receivers. You got Washington State, your Arizona State's the smaller schools that couldn't get the bigger players.
Mm-hmm.
They start spreading the field. And so in order to do that, we always were a heavy defensive back heavy team at SC with so many good DBs coming out of California. So what they wanted to do was get more DBs and more speed on the field. So in order to do that, they wanted to move me to a will linebacker / rover slot where I'd be playing a nickel in the slot.
Mm-hmm.
And so I agreed to do it. I thought it would be an opportunity for me to show my versatility, also learn how to cover a little bit more so that when I go to the next level, they can see me playing in the box, out of the box, covering in the slot, just doing a bunch of different things. So our season didn't go as well as planned collectively. We didn't win as many games as we probably should have. And I think that hurt me overall. And then also, I ran with 4.7, 4.8, 40.
Mm-hmm.
So that's never good as a defensive back. And that ultimately hurt me at the combine.
Oh yeah, I understand. I really wanted to know, how was the experience from playing in the box to going out on the boundaries? How did that help? How did that help you in the when you went to the league?
I think it helped me tremendously just because I understood run fits. I understood what the linemen were trying to do to you. And then, when you're playing up, 3 yards from that, you have to react a lot quicker. And when I went back and played free safety, I could see it all, but I was seeing it from 12 yards. So I could see the play diagram, the play, know what was going to happen, and get to it a lot faster untouched, So a lot of the time when the linemen were blocking the linebackers, I could just shoot right past them because, as a safety, you're not really counted in the box. You're not really accounted for as far as linemen blocking you.
Exactly.
You're only going to be blocked by the wide receiver. So it was an advantage for me in order to read the play, dissect the play, take the chance, and go get it.
Yeah, that's right, man. In my experience, man, going against a talented ball hawking safety, they have the ability to take you completely out the game, keep everything in front of them. The ability to go from hash mark to sideline or cover the entire field if you're in cover one, or in cover three in that aspect, man. That's a talent.
Yeah.
That's man. That's priceless. That's priceless. Yeah, in my experience. I faced a few guys who had that talent and had that ability. All right, so you decided to sign with the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
It were a few teams that you were, interested in going to, but ultimately you chose New Orleans. What played into that decision?
Well, generally how the draft works is if you don't get drafted, all the teams, you're basically a free agent, meaning the market's open to you. Any team can reach out to you. All 32 teams reached out to me, wanted to bring me in. Everybody called, some teams might offer you 50,000, 100,000, whatever, however much they offer you. At that time, it wasn't like it was like 30,000 or something like that, So they're offering you, and then the Saints came to me and they're like, "Hey, we'll match whatever anybody offers, and basically like 5,000 to 3,000 more or something like that." And so I knew that the Saints really wanted me, And that was the first thing. You want to go somewhere where you really wanted and that you have the opportunity to play. Mike Ditka called me, got on the phone and said, hey, we'd love to have you. I'll give you an opportunity to play if you show yourself capable of playing. Well, that's all I needed to hear, because the Cowboys called too, but the Cowboys had Darren Woodson and a bunch of other cold safeties, and I didn't think I was going to be starting over them. So, you got to put yourself in position to give yourself the opportunity to do what you can do and showcase what you can do. And so that's why I was looking like the Saints, who were the Aints at that time. I was like, I know I can play there. I was like, I know I can play there. No disrespect to the people they had, but I said my chances would be a lot better there, so.
No, you got to weigh your options, man. And
no doubt.
That's exactly what you did. My roommate in college, he actually, like, the team that wanted him the most wasn't putting out the most money.
Right.
And I remember talking to him about that, and he actually went to the team that actually offered the most money. And I was just like, man, I think you should have went to the team where you saw yourself as the best fit. And
right.
I said, that's just me. You know what I'm saying? Right. And the thing is even in preseason, I mean, because I don't think he did anything necessarily wrong, but he went to a team that was stacked with wide receivers. He went to Indianapolis when Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne was there. I mean, it's going to be tough to get on the field.
That's two starting spots that you ain't getting. You know what I mean? So
absolutely. And then you got to, when you look at the caliber of those guys, the guys behind them weren't bad either.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? So.
Right.
I think you definitely made the right decision. One of the things I want to do, I want to halt right there because, a lot of people that are going to be listening to this podcast, they don't know Casablanca. They don't know East Rivers. They don't know the surroundings you grew up around. The thing is you and I having grown up in that area, man, Riverside had a lot of talent.
A lot of talent.
The thing is that, I tell people all the time is that, some of the best players you never got a chance to see.
No doubt.
No doubt. So that was the thing about it is, talk a little bit about that, about the environment, that what you had to compete with just to make it to SC and then to the NFL.
Man, I could just tell you just from Rubidoux alone, man. I mean, we had some dogs, man. I mean, Tracy LaSalle, I mean, you know what I mean? Sandy. I mean, we had so many people on my high school team Jason Haller, we had guys who were really athletically good, were smart, physical, guys who I thought, man, should have definitely got, D1 high level scholarships. You know what I mean? And I don't know if our coaches weren't pushing them as far as to other coaches or what. But man, I mean, we had some talent, man. I mean, Donnie Jasper, I mean, all those guys. I mean, we had so many guys who were capable. I got to SC and I'm like, man, shoot, my boys from Rubidoux they should have got your scholarship for sure. A couple cats. So I was just like, man, no doubt. And then at North and all the other schools, you know what I mean? We had a lot of talent in the surrounding schools as well. So, I mean, those areas, I mean, for people that don't know, and I feel like I was unique, not my talent, but I had the unique experience of I had a grandmother that lived on the east side, and then I had a grandmother that lived in Casablanca, and then I lived in Rubidoux. So all parts of Riverside, I was on every day. My grandma Willamette lived right across the street in the east side from your grandmother, and then my grandma Johnson lived in Casablanca. So I know people on the podcast won't really know that, but we're trying to give you a geographical.
Yeah, rest in peace, man.
We're trying to give you a geographical outlook on Riverside.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's because there's a lot of kids who may be listening to this podcast, right? And they are in situations like you grew up in, right? I mean, because the thing is it's not always the best folks that make it. It's the ones that are able. You never got in trouble, and you had every opportunity to do so. And I think that a lot of why you made it was because of the character of the person that you are. And that's and it showed, like you just finished going through your decisions through your thought process when you're making a decision to go to New Orleans. Right? I mean, they weren't the only team that wanted you.
No.
I mean, and then then you think about, because I even watched the draft, and I watched guys who thought they were going to go in the first half of the first round and end up going in the second half of the first round, and they sitting there, they're bitter.
Mhm.
And here we are, because like I told you before, I believe had you played safety all year long, you'd have been drafted top and third round latest.
No doubt.
That's
No
just my
doubt.
personal opinion because I felt like you'd have been an All American and then everybody's eye would have been on you. I think going to the linebacker, it helped you and hurt you all at the same time. It hurt your draft stock, but I think it helped you as a football player.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
So
true. That's true.
All right,
yeah,
so you chose to play for Mike Ditka.
Yeah.
I want to know how it was tackling Ricky Williams in practice.
Man, Ricky Williams was a beast, man. I gotta give Ricky Williams. The thing about Ricky Williams, Ricky had the meanest stiff arm you ever see in life, man. People sleep on Ricky Williams' stiff arm because he's short, compact. He has these short arms, and you don't think it's gonna happen. So you'll come up ready to kill this dude, and he'll hit you with a Tyson shot,
Oh
and
boy,
it'll shock you. It'll shock you, man.
yeah.
You absorb it a little bit. You like, man, did that catch a stiff arm me like that? I was like, man, I ain't having that. But yeah, no, Ricky Williams, man, he's a great guy too, man. I'm so happy for him right now to see where he is right now in his life, and having gone through leaving football and then going through everything that he went through, and marijuana being legal now. You know what I mean?
He
Like,
was
hey,
before his time. He was before
hey,
his
man,
time.
Ricky was before his time, but
Yes,
man,
sir.
he didn't bother nobody. He didn't want to hurt nobody. Hey, and he was always a great teammate too, man. A real good guy. He lived right down the street from me, man. Loved to play Madden.
Oh,
Used to be
really? Oh, really, man? That's awesome, man. That's so awesome. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, man. I was just like enamored by what you were telling. Like I say, what you were sharing with us about that experience. Uh, okay, so you came in a part of that team that turned. You came in a part of a team that turned that Aints franchise around. You know, you came in.
Mhm.
I know you came in with Joe Horn. That's when Aaron Brooks came, and you guys really jump started that Saints tradition.
Mhm.
Can you give us insight on that, on your experience?
Yeah, man, that was a great experience, man. I like that first year, '97. We had a bunch of free agents. We had, I promise you, this is probably like the most free agents that ever made a team.
Mm,
We had myself, Jake Delhomme, Keith Mitchell, um, Earl made it.
mm,
Golly, who else made it? Donovan made it.
mm.
Jake Delhomme made it.
La-
There was like
Lafayette,
six,
Louisiana. I'm sorry,
yeah,
Lafayette, Louisiana's own.
seven of us. I think seven of us made it. Seven free agents made it. But
Mm,
the killer is that honestly, the free agents that made it. I mean, it was like a lightning bolt in the bottle right that year. I mean, like it was unbelievable because I think four of us made it to the Pro Bowl, ended up making the Pro Bowl, and then like all of us played over like 5 years,
mhm.
5 6 years, And Jake had an unbelievable career, in Carolina as a quarterback and went on to start there. But I mean, it was a really good draft class.
Yeah, it really was, man. Okay, can you take us through your professional career?
Yeah. Shoot, I ended up going 6 years with the Saints. 2 years with the 2 years with the Dolphins, 2 years with the Chiefs, and then a year with the Jags, and then finish up with the Giants.
Okay, cool. I had I had the honor of playing against Aaron Rodgers in college.
Oh man, Aaron Rodgers was a beast, man. He was a beast, man.
Oh yeah, they beat us 50-0. We didn't know who
Yeah,
that kid was.
yeah, Aaron
It
Rodgers is a
turned out to
beast.
be Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So my next question is, who was the best receiver or tight end that you faced while you were in the NFL?
That's a tough one. Well, I mean, the best receiver, you know, it's a tough one because the best receiver I faced was probably the best receiver is definitely all time Jerry Rice. And
Uh-huh.
there's no doubt about that. But probably the best receiver I faced because I faced him so much was probably Terrell Owens because
Mm.
I feel like I played him almost every year in my career, and I knew it was coming. That the shallow crosser, he's the one cat that can take a shallow crosser and turn it into 70 yards and 65 yards,
Oh boy.
and he'll hit you deep over the middle. He'll give it to you any way you want. I mean, between him and Moss was the same way. He got on us a little bit too, but But yeah, I gotta give it up to T.O., man. He probably was the toughest one, but no doubt that Jerry was the GOAT though.
Oh boy. Well, no, number two. Number two.
Number two.
Yes.
Oof.
No. I'm telling you, he was the number 2 best receiver.
Oh,
Yes.
stop it. Oh, stop it,
Yeah.
man. Stop it.
And Mr. 81 Megatron is the best to
Nah,
ever
man,
do
I'm
Oh,
it.
rolling
come
with
on,
Randy
man.
Moss.
Come on,
No,
man.
I'm by myself.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
By
you're
myself.
definitely by
yes,
yourself
you
on
are.
that one, man. Oh,
He
come on.
may be number 3-ish.
Come on.
3-ish. Oh, come on,
Oh,
man.
man.
I can't
Hey,
cut
well,
from a large.
like I
You
said,
can't even go 3-ish, man.
look, I'm gonna have to
Megatron was a
disagree
beast.
with
I'm
Sammy
not.
on that whole GOAT thing because to me the GOAT is Randy Moss, but
Oh,
I
come
respect
on, man.
I
Megatron was
respect
better
Jerry
than
Rice.
Moss. What are you talking
No,
about?
I'm not.
no.
Yeah, we're not even gonna have that conversation.
All right,
Yeah, that's-
what you got to say, Sammy, about that? Yeah.
I just say this. I just say this, man. Like when you look at Jerry Rice and his stats and how he played and having played against him, I mean, he was unbelievable. I mean, when I played him in my first 2 years I got out there, I couldn't believe playing against Jerry Rice how good the dude was. I mean, his slants were all his routes looked the same, man. Catch the ball, taking off. I mean, I played against him 3 years when he was in San Francisco, and then he ended up going to the Raiders and giving people business in the AFC when they thought he was done. And I mean, the guy was ball. I mean, he was a baller, man.
Boy.
I mean, and I thought I was playing him at the end of his career, and he was still killing us.
Oh boy, yeah, man.
And one of the things I let me ask you this, Sammy. So let's say you take away Steve Young and Joe Montana, and you give him not a bad quarterback, but an average NFL quarterback. Is he
Rich
still the GOAT?
Gannon.
Man, you act like you listen. I'm not gonna even bite on that, Hassan. I mean, come on, man. Hey, listen, let me. No. I'm just telling you. You act like Dante Culpepper was a bum. Dante Culpepper was
No.
cold.
That's what I'm saying. He's not a bum, but he's no Joe Montana.
No.
He's no Steve Young. That's
But
all I'm saying.
look, you got to realize though, with look who T.O. had to play with. I mean, right? He didn't play with
Jeff Garcia.
He never played with Joe Montana. He only played with Steve Young for like 2 or 3 years.
To Jeff Garcia.
He retired in 2000s, so he played with Garcia and whoever else. You know what I mean? You got to figure all those other years where he went to other teams. He still was balling. I mean, it's not like he had Montana all those years. And look at Jerry Rice. I mean,
Well, I don't think T.O. was a better receiver than
he dropped too many balls. He dropped way too many balls.
Yeah, than Randy Moss. I mean,
T.O. dropped some balls, but Randy dropped some too. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna defend T.O. T.O. did drop some balls. I mean, he did drop some balls, but I mean, if you drop 2 and you still give me 180, I'll take it. You know what I mean?
Oh, well, okay. I hear you. That makes sense. You know who didn't drop balls? Mr. Calvin Johnson. Now, you were alone.
Hey, T.O. didn't miss games though. T.O. didn't miss games.
Okay, yeah, you got a point there. You got a point.
Well, I do have a question. Now, we talked about the best because being a DB, that makes sense. You want to talk about the best receiver that you've had to face. I'm curious, who was the best player that you saw that you've played against or played with?
Mm-hmm.
The best player that I played against or played with. That's a tough one, man, because I played against so many players. Like, I mean, you always start with those wide receivers, those individual wide receivers. But man, I mean, there's been some guys. The best player, I mean, Willie Roaf was unbelievable, man. Willie Roaf was unbelievable.
You played with him, didn't you?
Played with him, yeah. I played with him.
Yeah, he was a
in New Orleans and in
Kansas City.
Playing with Willie Roaf was unbelievable because you saw him week in and week out just dominate people. I'm talking about you would just see people shut it down like man, I don't want no more of this, man.
Wow.
And he was such a great guy, man. On top of that, but yeah, playing with him, Jason Taylor was a beast. You know what I mean? Like seeing him, and I was fortunate enough to play with 2 corners who were dominant, man, and Pat and Sam, Pat Surtain and Sam Madison, both those guys, man. They I mean, it was unbelievable to me, man, how dominant they were against people when they used to jam them up, and the receivers were scared. So, that was always an honor.
All right, so I'm not gonna keep touching on who was the best, but you came along during an era of the pass catching tight end.
Yeah,
and that was I know you were responsible for shading a few of them, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm sure. Let me think: Shannon Sharp, Tony Gonzalez, Uh,
Antonio Gates,
Antonio Gates was a little bit after.
a little
But
bit
no,
after.
I get
Nah,
yeah.
Antonio Gates. I played against Gates a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. He was around in that same era.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I had Gates a lot.
Okay. Who would you consider the best out of that group?
Shannon Sharp, Tony Gonzalez, or I mean, you know what's crazy is that all three of them are totally different.
Hmm.
I mean, like they're totally different. Like Gates, he was the first to really start getting split out. You know what I mean? And like he was a wide receiver out there. They put him on the backside of a 3-by-1, and he's hitting you with the slant or the slant and go
Mm.
or fade. And I ain't gonna he gave me the business a couple times.
Oh
Hey,
yeah.
I ain't gonna lie to you. You know what I mean? I gotta give Antonio Gates his props. You know, I got him sometime too, but I mean, he was cold when it came to if he split out a receiver, he was the best out. If you split him out, um, I didn't play Shannon Sharp a lot. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I played him a couple times, but I didn't get to play him a lot. So I really can't speak. You know, I mean, I can speak on him from knowing him, but I'm saying personal experience. TG played him in college. Man, TG is a beast, man, and played with him, and I know how hard he worked. You know, so and you know he's the number one receiving tight end for a reason. So I got to go with TG just because, man, he was a beast. I saw how hard he worked every day on his hands, you know, spending time after practice, before practice, on the sideline, always catching balls, man, you know, and he ran routes good. He was an excellent blocker. And, you know, he caught a lot of touchdowns, caught a lot of balls. He didn't drop them, you know. So I got to go with him.
All right. Now this question is for my receivers. What is the most difficult route for a safety to cover?
I think the dig, man. I say the dig, man.
The
I,
dig.
I think I think the dig, you know. I think the dig, you know. You can say post corner or something like that, but I think it's the dig because I said it dig because you got to have leverage, man. And it's hard to stay inside and get that leverage because you stay inside too much and then they take it up on you, and you know it's tough. It depends on what coverage you're in, honestly. You know,
Okay.
as a safety, you know, like if you're in cover two, it's probably the dig. If you're in cover three, you know, I mean, it's not hard at all. You know what I mean? So it just depends on what coverage you have, but I would say probably digs. You know what I mean? That's probably the hardest.
Hey, cover the dig is a cover three buster also if you get behind the linebackers and in between the safeties.
Well, yeah, but the thing about that is that you got to have somebody running off that middle safety. So you got to have a seam route, and you have the dig coming in behind it. You
Yeah,
know,
well, yeah,
now you're talking. Now, if you
yeah,
just have a dig route with no thread, I'm killing you. You know what
yeah,
I mean? So
definitely.
that's different.
You always gotta have a clear route. But say you if you hit that dig route right off the hash, you get what
Yeah,
I'm saying, right in between
yeah,
that crease.
right.
Yeah, that's a zone buster there also. I mean, you might
Yeah,
not get anything off of it, but it's a first down.
yeah, they're gonna get the catch, but I don't mind that because I'm coming to get him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Now, I mean, you might get fined for something like that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
But you can catch some digs, but if it ain't no clear out, I'm coming downhill. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
so
I
that's
was
different.
watching. I was watching film of you yesterday. I believe it. Yes, sir.
No, so and I heard that you mentioned the post corner. Truthfully, that was my favorite route. Now,
Mhm,
part of the reason is because I was a speedy wide receiver. So if I
mhm.
got you to make even just a tad bit of a mistake, it was a wrap.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And so, how difficult was it to cover that route?
Well, it's always difficult, but I mean, the main thing about playing safety is leverage, man. I mean, if you got leverage, you can always drive on the ball and cut them off. But if you don't have leverage and you go against fast receivers like you two, then you know now you're in trouble because now that you get me to open up my hips the wrong way or get me to open up my hips and you stick the other way. Well, you got the advantage, you
Yes,
know.
sir.
So that's what you got to watch out for.
It's up to that quarterback to
And I
put on
like
the
that
rope.
you spoke on that word leverage, and then you said earlier, what hurt you is that in the draft is that you were 4.6 4.7,
Right.
and so um you know not being the fastest on the field.
Mhm.
Angles.
I remember, yeah, I remember you leading the NFL in interceptions, or one of the top in interceptions. And so one of the things about it, talk about what had to be done to make up, because you're running against. I mean, you played against
Yeah.
To, you played against Randy Moss, these guys, the speedy wide receivers. Like how were you able to be able to stay on the field and compete at a high level when you got all this speed that you know that you don't actually have with you.
You know what? I think part of it is I had a terrible 40 and on that day,
Okay.
at the combine because every time other time I run a 4.6 or 4.5.
Yeah,
So
growing up with you, I didn't think you were 4.7, 4.8. I'm just when you said
th-
that, that
th-
kind
th-
of shocked me.
that's different. But also but I think I did always play faster than what I was just because angles,
Yeah.
understanding plays, and I think what helped me was playing multiple sports. I played baseball, so I could really judge the ball well. I knew kind of, I just kind of I had good feet from shuffling ground balls. Always played shortstop, so I understood angles and all that kind of stuff. Basketball helped me have good feet, and then just guarding people, learning how to read hips and that kind of thing, as far as cutting them off and jumping. And I had like a 36-inch vert. I mean,
Mm.
that's not, I didn't have no 40, but you know what I mean? I was a decent athlete. I wasn't terrible. So I think playing multiple sports helped me more than everything because I always took other sports and involved that, the philosophies I learned from that into my football game.
Definitely. Yeah. Hey, from my experience, angles, instinct, and hips.
Yeah, no doubt. No
That's it.
doubt. And there's a difference between track speed and football speed.
Big time.
Some guys can, get to that max velocity and maintain it. Other guys can't break down and accelerate. So there's different types of speed. I was always quicker than faster. I can get in and out of breaks and that kind of thing. So I never had any problem with that.
Got you. Well, this next question is brought to you by the Fritz Pollard Alliance. We had the honor of bringing on a high-ranking executive, Larry Lee, on the show last week to explain to us the hiring process. What are your thoughts on minorities getting front office positions?
I think there's something that definitely needs to be done, especially when you're talking about a league that's 80% black and only have a couple of minority executives right now. A GM, couple GMs, I think, and maybe one or two presidents. So I think there definitely is something that definitely needs to be done in regards to that. Um, I think the biggest thing is that I think the biggest thing that needs to be done is that the owners and the players, I mean, owners and the coaches need to figure out a way, or not the owners, but the commissioner needs to figure out a way to get the owners and some of these coaches on some type of retreat, a weekend retreat where they all can kind of converse, get to know each other, and figure out. Uh, I guess kind of just really get to know one another, because I think it really is. Uh, these owners don't really know the coaches. Take Eric Bieniemy for instance.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really know him, and so they're just going off of someone either vouching for him or not. And a lot of the times, these other younger coaches that are getting hired might run in some of the same circles, or they might have an uncle who coached with them and played with this owner, or might know. And so, I mean, they for these owners, they just have to be comfortable. I mean, and obviously they're not comfortable with all the coaches that they've been come in contact with. So I think they have to figure out something along the lines of that. And now the tough part about that is I don't know if that might be a tampering issue, trying to get owners together with all these different coaches. But if everybody's there, I think everybody has equal access, then it wouldn't be as bad.
Got you. Yeah, man. Hey, those are great points. Great points. The final question would be, for me, what advice would you give players following in your footsteps?
I say, man, the number one thing is you gotta have a passion. You know what I mean? If you want to play a sport, whether it be football, basketball, whatever it is you want to do, doctor, I mean, and not even sports, you know what I mean? Lawyer, whatever it is you want to go after, you have to be passionate, you have to put in the work. And man, you can't be afraid to fail, man. At the end of the day, we're all gonna make mistakes.
Mhm.
You just got to grow and learn from your mistakes. And man, you got to trust in God. At least for me, I'm a spiritual person, so I believe in trusting in God, and everything happens for a reason, man. Even my situation not getting drafted, he put me in the best place to be for where I needed to be at that moment. And so, just believe in yourself, have faith, and go for it, man. You know what I mean? We're all promised, great things. So just go for it, man, and believe in yourself. Just knowing that there'll be setbacks, but just looking at them as setbacks and growth opportunities, and then go from there.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. Well,
That was dope.
Haas, you got anything for Mr. Knight?
Uh, I mean, I guess for me, I'd like to just get it a little bit more personal advice, if you will. If what, Sammy, I believe you're 46 now,
45.
45, be 46 this year, right?
Yep.
Yep. All right. So your 45-year-old self talking to your um let's go to 22-year-old self. What do you say to him?
22-year-old self.
So I'm
Hey
thinking that's
man,
you're getting ready to go. I don't, either you're going into your senior year or getting ready to go into the pros. What are you saying to yourself at this point?
just go for it, man. I would just say, hey man, just put yourself in a position, the best position you can, to be successful. I would say, hey, go out with that track team and and learn to start. And get with Haas and get on that start,
Oh
because
yeah.
that's the key. That's the key, man, is that start, man. So nah, I'm just joking, but no, seriously, I would just tell myself, hey man, just grind and go for it, man. You're only gonna be 21, so go for it, man. And but one thing that I wish I would have done a little bit better job of when I was younger was networking. Not only just networking from a business standpoint, but I think I would have done better just networking, even from an athletic standpoint, just learning what other players are doing. I was so caught up in like just trying to get better that I didn't really, find out what DBs in Washington were doing, DBs in Florida State are doing. And I think the youth right now have a better opportunity to do that with Instagram, and you have access to what everybody's doing. I'm not on social media. I'm not really into that, but I do know that they have access to seeing what players are doing at the University of Washington, players are doing at Oregon, SC, Alabama. So I think that's a great thing for players to use, and you might just get one little tip from a player from across town. And the other thing I would say is just make sure that these players, because the game has changed so much and they're running all these spread offenses, the game changes when you get to the NFL, man. You're gonna see eye backs, you're gonna see all types of different formations. So you got to really teach yourself at a young age the game. And you might not have somebody there to teach you, but they have the all 22 NFL. You can be get it for like $60, man, and just start learning the game and watching it. And you can watch your favorite players,
Hmm.
and then do what they do. Try and you can teach yourself. Learn, take it day by day. It's football. It's not too complicated.
Yeah, definitely, man. Hey, well, I want to thank you once again. This show has been everything we expected. It was
That's right.
insightful, educational, and it gave us a chance to pick the brain of an all-pro NFL player.
That's right.
You
Hey,
know,
well, I just want to say thank you guys for having me on, man. I'm excited about you guys' show, man. I'm sure that you guys are going to go on to do great things, man. And I'm just glad to have an opportunity to be here with you guys. I know you guys know ball. You know what I mean? We talk about ball all the time, so it's great to see some people I know that know the game and are really about to get out there and interview a bunch of people who know the game as well. So it's refreshing to be interviewed by you.
oh yeah, thank you, man. Hey, once again, we'll be talking to you soon, man. Love to have you back on the show, brother.
Anytime, man.
Yes, sir. Take it easy. All right. Talk to
Okay.
you later.
Good
Peace.
seeing you, brother.
You
All
too.
right, man.
All right,
Take
all
care.
right. Well, brother Hacienda,
Yes, sir.
I would say this was exactly what we were expecting. Like I say, great opening show, man. I look forward to going down this path with you. And, like I said, God bless us, nothing but success and blessings abundantly.
Absolutely, man. And like I said, I enjoyed myself on this show. Just being able to sit here with you and listen to the knowledge that you have when it comes to football. I will say, I played football, but I'm more of a football fan.
Gotcha.
There's a lot that I still learn from you. There's a lot of, even just looking at football,
Mhm.
that I've learned from. So just to sit here and see you guys converse back and forth about the different coverages and things like that. I'm eating it up. I'm trying to look, not to look too off while I'm trying to catch
Yeah.
catch in with what you guys got going on. So it's
Gotcha.
just you want to sit back and listen. And you're like, oh, I probably need to ask a question here.
Yeah.
So and
I get it.
but no, man, it's definitely an honor to be with someone that's a sports scholar.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, I
Yes,
mean,
sir.
you know, you want to be with folks just like Sammy talked about it, about being a student of the game,
Mhm.
and you know, you're a student of the games.
Always
Because the
and
thing
forever.
is you know, the way you break down football, you can break down basketball the same way. You
Yes,
know what I'm
sir.
saying? I mean,
Yes,
when you
sir.
talk about baseball, it's in you. You like I said, you are that sports scholar. So, bro, you know, salute to you. I appreciate the opportunity, and I mean, I look forward to the future, bro.
Definitely. And, hey, and to close, there is no one on this planet who I would prefer to do this show with. You know what I'm saying?
Likewise, fam.
Take us out,
Likewise.
Rizzy.
Nothing but love.
Nothing but love, baby boy. Yes, sir. All right, huh?
Love you.
Peace. Yes, sir.